How much of goaltending is a science? How much is pure athleticism or skill?
Goaltending ultimately is a position of taking up space. Your athleticism and your skill allows you to be better at taking up space. I'd say
What's going on, guys? This is Brandon from Advancement Hockey Advising here, and today we got a really special episode here. We've never done something like this before, and it's basically a sneak peek of an AHA Plus live stream that we do every single week, Thursday nights at 7:30. This one here was with Jamie Phillips. It was honestly a huge success. So many people came, a lot of people got a lot of value out of it, and basically how these live streams work is that we have a guest on. We're in our AHA Plus platform on Discord here. We basically interview the guest, but usually the interview gets driven mostly by our users that are in the audience asking questions in the chat, and you guys will see with our little quick sneak peek here of how it kind of works. So I think the reason why we want to announce this on YouTube here is so more people are aware, so they can kind of see how the layout works and see the value that they can get when they come on this platform. To join AHA Plus to watch the live streams is absolutely free. No credit cards, no sign up, nothing like that. You just go in there and you can actually view the live streams and ask your questions to us, to other advisors on the AHA team, and to our live guests every single week. So if you guys do want to see these kind of videos here, watch a little bit more and you'll see what it's all about.
For today, we got Jamie Phillips with us. Unbelievable college goal. He played 4 years at Michigan Tech, put up some unreal numbers. I won't get into that because I don't know how you did it. Jamie, welcome in. Hope all is well. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. That was a quite intro.
Dude, right off the bat.
The door later.
Yeah, no prep, nothing. Yeah.
So you said you played, like when you were in the coast, you were starting, playing a ton of games, and then when you got called to Manitoba, you were on the bench and you weren't playing a lot. So I had a buddy who was the same thing. He was ripping up the coast, went to the A, and then he wasn't playing. Would you rather be in the lower league playing more, or sitting on the bench in the higher league, earning more money, but not getting the ice time that you want?
That is a good question. Don't know. I don't know what the answer is, and it's situational.
What about for a junior kid? Put it in that perspective. Maybe not pro, because at that level you're so.
Yeah, if you're a junior kid, then yes, you need to be wherever you're going to play because you can't showcase yourself on the bench. For me, like I said, I was on contract, so different, and wanted to be in the for me, I wanted to be in the American League because one, twisted an ankle. Next thing you know, I'm starting and I can show myself at that level and create opportunities. Already shown that I can play very well at the East Coast League. So for me, I would have wanted to be, I'd rather have backed up in the American League than have started in the East Coast. But in junior, I'd really rather, like say it was like difference between playing junior A and junior B, I would rather have played a ton of games in junior B and developed and show what I can do and sat on the bench in junior A. And that, looking back, I should have played like major AAA, or I should have signed with like a weaker junior A team rather than signing in junior B as quickly as I did and not playing any games.
A lot of guys find it hard to make the climb once they're in maybe junior B or a lower level, but they forget about, developing. They want that title saying, oh, I play in the BCHL, but I'm a fourth liner getting 5 minutes a game. And what does that really do for you at the end of the day? Yeah, and I know it's like it's definitely an ego thing, and we all think that we're better than we are in the moment. You have to understand, like if you're a fourth liner in the BCHL, you're a fourth liner for a reason. So a couple things you can do. You can either go to a weaker league and play more games, or there's things you can do, a weaker team in the league and get opportunities, or there's something you have to do and change with your game in order to earn more opportunities. And what I found, especially like coaching college kids and getting a lot of younger players, not really I usually haven't had an issue with my goalies, but I see it on the player side where there's a lot of players and young men who aren't willing to accept that maybe the role that got them junior or got them to college isn't the role that's necessarily going to get them to be like first line, second line guys in college or get them to pro. Hey, I put up 25 goals in the null. I'm a goal scorer. Well, 25 goals in the null doesn't translate very well to college hockey. Mm-hmm. So you're probably going to be a 3 or 4 goal a year guy in college. So what else are you going to do? Say you're a skill guy, because you're not, because we're just skill guys are the guys that are putting up 30, 40 goals in the USHL. It's a huge difference. Mm-hmm. But a lot of kids don't want to realize that. But the kids that do
usually find success, and they're the ones that go on and get opportunities in pro over those that are reluctant. And we go through it every year. There's freshman year kid doesn't put up goals, I'm a goal scorer. Second year doesn't put up goals, I'm a goal scorer. Same thing. And we tell them, no, you're not. We got to change your game. And they never listen. So I find that if you have people in your corner that are telling you like, hey, maybe you should change your game, there's a reason for it. No one's going to tell you to score less goals unless there's a reason for it.
I mean, that comes down to ego, because like a goal scorer coming from junior, that's an ego check when you get to college where you got to become a third, fourth line guy. I mean, I had a friend who was a top scorer at Notre Dame, and now he's a third liner on the Habs. It's the same thing. So Gabriel asked you, like, do you think having an ego is a good thing as a player, as long as it's under control? He's a goalie as well, so maybe you can relate to that.
Yeah, there's a difference between being egotistical and being confident. I guess I couldn't really give a good definition, but if I was going to describe it, I'd say ego is allowing you to be blinded by like what you have in your abilities. Confidence is just more believing in yourself and being willing to change. And I think you need to have some sort of ego. You need to believe in yourself, but you need to kind of dance that line between confidence, being blinded by your skills, or kind of going back to what I was saying, like some people are so egotistical, they believe in themselves so much, they believe that I am a goal scorer, that they're not willing to block shots or play third line minutes or get into the corner. Where someone's confident in themselves but not egotistical, they're like, okay, like I'm not putting up the points I want. I know I'm a good player. I know I can skate well. So you know what? Like I'm going to muck and grind, get the puck to the net, and I'm going to get some apples and some greasy goals to get on the board. And then maybe I'll get back into the second line or get some power play minutes. And then for me, that's the difference between ego and confidence.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a great way to put it. Is there a way to muck and grind as a goalie in practice, maybe?
Yeah, I've actually never thought of that before.
Steph, anyone?
I don't know, because I think
goalies do.
I don't know if you could really muck and grind, because there's one role as a goalie. As players, there's multiple roles. You have defensemen, you have goal scorers, cut down guys, you have all these like hard workers. As goalies, your job is to stop the puck. So however you do it, that's how you need to do it. So I guess I don't know if you can really muck and grind as a goalie.
Now, with more consistency, it's once you're in that net, you can't let it go now. You got to wait your turn until you get there, and then you just have to stay consistent and making a good save to make sure the coach is confident and nobody's worried when you're in net.
Yeah, I guess you could muck and grind as a backup, where like you were like going out of your way to stop everything and follow your rebounds and go above and beyond in practice in order to become better, in order to showcase yourself. So I think if there was a muck and grind, it would be like a backup role.
Okay. Yeah, even just in practice. I mean, it's easy for a backup to get complacent sometimes, I feel, especially if you're in a consistent backup role where you're going to get maybe a game every 8 games or whatever it may be. So,
Sebastian, question. He tried to have a healthy relationship with his goalie partner, and every time he tried to have that healthy competition, the guy would just start trash talking him. How do you deal with that?
Wow, that sucks. Straight up, that sucks. So, always been a big believer. I think the last time I had like a relationship like that, I think it was like in minor midget with my goalie partner. But I've been fortunate that everyone's been really supportive and pushing each other. It's that healthy competition. So I guess if you are trying to be a good teammate to your goalie partner, the thing is you can do is you can always be a good teammate. You can't control what they're doing. If they're gonna be a jerk, they're gonna be a bad attitude. That's just the way that they're gonna do it. But you can support them, even though it's hard in the moment and you don't want to support someone who's, excuse my language, being a dick. You can do that. But the thing is, if it's not being reciprocated, don't expect it, and then do what you can to beat that guy out. Just take his job. If he's going to be arrogant and in your face like that, just make him back up. Make him back up to you. And then at the end of the season, you shake his hand, you say, great playing with you, and you move on to the next level, and they stay back because you outworked them. And that's the only way that you can really treat it, is you got to take care of yourself. Be a good teammate to your goalie partner as much as you don't want to, and be a good teammate to the players on your team.
When you played junior, were you always the guy who was, going into camp signed, or did you have to compete for a spot? And the reason I ask is because we have a lot of kids that we speak to that are trying out for teams, and as advisors, we talk to these coaches, and man, they have like a goalie showcase, a main camp, a prospect camp, and at these goalie showcases, there may be 12 to 30, 40 goalies sometimes. So it's a bit demoralizing and disheartening for them to show up and see all these players. Like, is there a way to make a team like that, or do you have to find a way in right away to the spot that fits?
You can do both. So, the goalies that I work with, one of them is going to go sign in the Noge, and he earned that spot. Good play previous season, but also going to a camp playing very well. and he earned a spot. So I know it is discouraging when there's 40 goalies on the ice. Typically, it does get narrowed down to a main camp where there's usually one open spot for a goalie. There's typically one guy goes in signed, the other spot's open. For me, to earn that spot that I made in junior B, after that, when I went up to Pembroke, that's like probably one of the biggest breaks that I've ever got in my hockey career. Is my agent at the time was Kyle Dubas. And obviously Kyle Dubas and Sheldon Keefe had that relationship. Sheldon Dubas told Keefe, he's like, hey, I got a goalie. He didn't play a lot. You should go watch him. So Keefe drove to Montreal when I was at a goalie camp and came and he said, okay, we like him. We can't guarantee he's going to play any games, but we'll sign him. And so that's how I got that opportunity. So all the other times I had come into camp with a spot. So I was very fortunate in that. Also had kind of earned that privilege through my good play my first year of junior. But I also, again, got incredibly lucky that Keefe liked what he saw at just a random goalie camp in Quebec. And that's, mind you, I think I did have an offer in Canada at the time, and they had guaranteed me 15 games. But like when I talked to my dad, he just said, like, you're going to a better team, but they're not going to promise you anything. I think you want that opportunity more than the team that's going to promise you something. And just for whatever reason, I was like, yeah, like, I can do it. And, I did. And they brought in like 4 or 5 different goalies throughout the year to try to take my spot. None of them ever did. So it worked out ultimately.
In chat, we got questions. What do you think about Thatcher Demko?
I think he's good. I have my own personal beliefs about the way he plays that I don't like. I think there's a lot of things that he could do to make himself better, but he has all the tools in the world. Their goalie coach in Vancouver, Ian Clark, is very particular about the style his goalies play. He wants all his goalies to play the same way. And for me, I'm not a believer in that. Because again, hockey and goaltending is not black and white. Because the puck is in one area doesn't mean you should always be, say, in the RVH or always be in your feet. It depends on the system, what's going on around you. It's very dynamic. So I do think Demko is hindered by a system that he is almost required to play in, rather than let him play as comfortable as possible. But I'm trying to say that as politically correct as I can.
You mentioned RVH and my hips already started hurting, so. Okay, next one is, I can't say his name properly, Kochekov, Hurricanes prospect.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about him? You think he'll crack an NHL roster?
I don't see why not. He's played well in his games. Again, it just depends. It just depends on opportunity. Someone has to want him. Some team just needs a spot. They don't have that many great goalies in the pipeline or in their draft picks, so it's really hard to say. And Frederick Anderson's a very good goalie. I actually am so happy he's in Carolina because no one talks about him. Like in Toronto, he was just ripped on all the time, and he's a sick goalie. And in Carolina, he's still playing as well. Just no one talks about him, so he flies on the radar. I don't think Ranta's going to be back, but I think Antti Ranta is a really good goalie too. That's a pretty dangerous combo. I don't know if he'll get an opportunity in Carolina unless he's willing to play the long game and stick it out in the minors and not go back to Russia or ask for a trade somewhere else. And it's so hard because no one knows. No one knows.
No, and like you mentioned, that those two as a duo are going to be very strong for a long time. So that is for sure the long game because they have 2 number ones on their hands, and I wouldn't get rid of either of them unless one was injured or wanted to leave. Mm-hmm. The next question, this one's a good one. How much of goaltending is a science? How much is pure athleticism or skill?
That's a good question. I'd say it's 100% science and 100% skill and athleticism. So I know the numbers don't match up. Goaltending ultimately is a position of taking up space. And your athleticism and your skill allows you to be better at taking up space than someone else. Now, the net is 6x4. That doesn't change. The angles of the available net changes on where the puck in relation to the middle of the net. That is the math part. The size of your body is also a math part. The surface area of your body is the math part. And how quickly you can move and react. So a math part. So it is actually 100% science. The science is dictated by your skill and ability. I think that that's where people times miss the mark, where especially, back in the early 90s when the butterfly style was big, everyone was like, you just take up space, go straight down. And then that sort of quote unquote hybrid style came around and the athletic goalie developed. But ultimately you have to do both. You have to do what you can to take up the most amount of space. And we now see in terms of the style of goaltending that's played is an athletic goaltender will take up most amount of space.
I've never thought about it that way. But so going off of that, do you believe in playing wide then? Guys, I'm not saying an in tight shot, but guys above the circles, do you think that having a wide stance is a better feeling for a goalie rather than being next to can move?
Absolutely not. So a couple of reasons for that. First is unless you have geared ankle inversion, so like your ankle caves in, like UC Saros does, or some very few goalies have it, play wide. So essentially, the wider you get, the less blade you have on the ice. The less blade you have on the ice, the more impaired your ability is to move. And so that's why you see when goalies get wide, three things happen. Either they get retreat so much because they can't control themselves, drop because they get locked in because they don't have any blade, or they get an inadequate push because they don't have enough blade. And the second part is the more elongated your muscles are, the harder it is to move because you can't get forceful muscle contractions. So unless you are someone who is incredibly flexible and incredibly strong in your end ranges of flexibility, you are not able to move. So playing wide is an absolute no-go for me. Just a good example is watch Matt Murray on breakaways. Gets too wide and he often gets locked in, and he'll either stay up because he can't go down, or he's not able to get strong pushes. And then you watch that compared to UC Saros, who has this weird thing with his ankles, able to get wide and is still able to move, but very, very few goalies have that. And so for me, I would definitely narrow in a goalie who is struggling or is trying their best to play wide and not able to play within that system.
Glad we're on the same page there, because I have this debate with kids every day, and it's just they don't seem to understand that.
No.
I got one last question for you, and I think this one's a great one from chat. How do you deal with mental health, and how important is it moving up in levels as a goalie?
I'll answer his second question after because I did that workout program. But Jamie, go ahead.
To deal with mental health, you find a mental health professional. And I say that someone who I have no problem. I go to therapy twice a week now. I got a mental skills coach when I played pro, probably too late, but he did add about 2 years onto my career, so I can thank him for that. Mental health is now it's less taboo as it was when we were younger, and that's good. I'm glad to hear that. Our professionals in that for a reason. Just like you go to a goalie coach to improve your goalie skills or a strength coach to improve your athletic skills, you need to go to a mental health professional in terms of sports performance, just general mental health, because that is their job. Their job and their role is to get you healthy as possible, get your mind right. Growing up, I thought like I was mentally tough because I got cut from all these teams. I'd still made it. And then when you actually have like real challenges, like now you're playing for money, and now if you don't play well, you're not going to be able to continue your career and support your family and all these real life things that happen. If someone's not on your side working with you to develop the tools and the mindset to get around that stuff, very hard to figure it out on your own. And you can see like there's a lot of books here, and a bunch of them are self-help books. You can read all those books you want. Some of them help, but for me, seek expert help whenever you need it, regardless of if that's mental, skills, nutrition, training, whatever. There are people, that's their job, and they're there to help you be the best that you can be at whatever that is.
I couldn't agree with you more. We play a very mental position, and if that's not 100%, there's no way your game will ever be. So I couldn't agree with you more there. Well, on that note, I don't want to take up more of your time. Thank you so much for showing up tonight. There's a lot of goalies in chat tonight. Hopefully they learned something. We argue with them every day about playing wide and wanting to play at the highest level, but they're not playing. So hearing it from an ex-pro will hopefully help you guys set your mind straight and focus on the right things to get to the next level. So Jamie, we appreciate it so much you being here tonight. Thank you again. And I don't know if maybe, what's the name of your podcast so that maybe they can check it out?
Yeah, podcast is called Goalie Science, or you just go to my Instagram. I think it's Jamie Phillips 30. I do most of my stuff on Instagram. That's where, just DM me. I answer all my DMs. I put all my content there. But if you wanna nerd out in goalie stuff, Goalie Science is the podcast.
Thank you so much, Jamie.
All right, now that is a wrap for the sneak peek here of the live stream with Jamie Phillips on AHA Plus. Hopefully you guys did like this, and hopefully it encourages you guys to come and join these live streams. They're absolutely free. You just click the link in the description below. It takes you to it. And honestly, you guys, not only will you get the live streams, but you'll get other features in the Discord as well that you can't get anywhere else. And it's really a game changer when it comes to get that inside scoop in the hockey world. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you did, feel free to drop a comment down below, join the Discord, do all that kind of stuff, and smash the like button if you haven't already. It really goes a long way for the algorithm here and for more people to see this video so they know what AHA Plus is all about. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll catch you on that next one.